Hello friends, remember when taking notes to always write down the title and then make sure you take as many notes as you feel comfortable with. Remember, these are yours, so anything that you feel that you need to write down would be important. Also, when I give you opportunities to try problems, please do so because remember, practice makes perfect, or at least almost perfect. Okay, so we're going to start today with adding fractions. The first part I'm going to show you are with like denominators. So in number 1, if you look here, we've got a 5/9 and a 2/9. That means that I have altogether ninths. That goes on the bottom. Okay, remember, they have to have the same denominator. So in this case, since they both do, we can just add them. 5 plus 2 means I have 7. If I have 5/9 and 2/9, I have 7/9. If I look here, I have 5/8, 1/8, and 3/8. The parentheses tell me that I have to add those first. So I have 6/8 plus 3/8, which gives me 9/8. Now, that's what we call an improper fraction. So I have to make sure that I have all my wholes accounted for. So if I have 9/8, I really have 8/8 plus 1/8. And 8/8 is a whole. So I have 1 and 1/8. And that's my answer. Okay, I'm going to bubble in my answers so that way my teacher knows what I'm doing. Now let's look at these. What do I do with a situation like this? I have 7 and 4/9 and 10 and 2/9. Well, these are my wholes, 7 and 10. So I'm going to add them together and get 17. 4/9 and 2/9. Luckily, 9 is my denominator, and it's the same. So I still have ninths, and I have a total of 6/9. Okay, they want us to write it in simplest form. Is this in simplest form? No. So we have to take the 6/9 and think, okay, what number goes into both 6 and 9? 3. Okay, so if I divide by 3, for both of them, 17 and 2/3 is my new answer. Is that simplest form? Yep, so I bubble it in. Okay, notice down here that these do not have the same denominator, the 6 and the 3. Okay, I still follow the first step. 8 and the 2 get added together and I get 10. But right now I'm working with the two fractions, 5/6 and 1/3, and I want to add them together. Okay, I can't add sixths with thirds because that's just not fair. Somebody's getting a bigger piece while somebody's getting a smaller piece. So I have 5/6, and I know that I can change this 3 into sixth by multiplying them each by 2. So I am making this 1/3 now into its equivalent form of sixth, which is 2/6. Okay. So now I'm going to add them together. I don't know why I have a dot there. I'm going to add them together and I get 7/6. Am I done? No, because that's improper. I have to change that to a 1 and 1/6. So remember that 10 over there? I had that to begin with. So now I have 11 and 1/6. And I am finished, finito. It's in simplest form. I can move on. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and try these, and I'll be back in just a second to show you the answers. Now, here's where you might be tempted. Don't just allow me to go through the answers. Try them yourself. It's important that you have an opportunity to take time and practice for yourself. Okay, so really pause the video. And now I'm going to show you what the answers are. I want you to go ahead and check your work. Make sure that you're using a red pen or something that you can see where you've made a mistake, and that way you know what you can practice better for before you take a formative or a test. Okay, so here's how I would do it. Add your whole numbers. 6 plus 2 is 8, and then my 1/8 plus my 5/8. Ooh, their denominators are the same. Yay, I don't have to do as much work. Add the numerators, 1 and 5, so I get 6/8. Is that in simplest form? No, they are both divisible by 2, so I know that I have 3/4. So my answer is 8 and 3/4. Bubble it in so my teacher knows what I'm doing. Over here, okay, I'm going to first add my 5 and my 2, my whole numbers, and I get 7. But when I look down here, my denominators are not the same, which means I don't have all the same pieces. I have fifths, and then I also have tenths. If I look here, these are not the same size. Fifths and tenths, you're getting a lot more when you have a fifth versus a tenth. So I can change these fifths into tenths by cutting each one of them in half. And in this case, to do that, you multiply it by a 2, right? If I multiply the top by 2, I get 2, and the bottom, I get 10. So I'm really adding 2 tenths plus 3 tenths, and I get 5 tenths. Okay, now, is that simplified? No. They're both divisible by 5, so I get 1/2, and my new answer is 7 1/2. Down here, 1 and 4 added together is 5, and then 5/9 plus 1/6. Uh-oh, denominators not the same. I need to figure out what number both of them would be, so I use their multiples. Okay, so if I look here, the multiples of 9 are 9, 18, 27. I could keep going. And the 6 would be 6, 12, 18, 24. I could keep going. But notice that both have an 18 in common. So their common denominator is 18. So I have 5 plus 10/18. And if I multiply over here, this one would be multiplied by 3. I forgot to tell you that this one was multiplied by 2. Sorry about that. So 6 times 3 is 18, and 1 times 3 is 3. So I have 5 and 13/18. Luckily, it's already simplified. Let's look at some more. Let's try these. If Juliana and Brody hiked both of the trails listed in the table, how far did they hike? Okay, so they want us to add these two fractions together. What do you notice? I notice that I have two whole numbers. Together they equal 5, 3 plus 2. I notice that I have 2/3 and 5/6, and they do not have common denominators, but they do have the multiple of 6 in common. 6, of course, is itself, and if I take 3 times 2, I get 6, so 2 times 2 is 4. So when I add 4 plus 5, I have 9/6. So what I can do is I can take and simplify. 5, and this is an improper fraction, so I can add 6/6 plus 3/6 and get 9/6, right? And this 6/6 is actually a whole. So that whole added to my 5 makes 6, and 3/6 can be simplified to 1/2. So I get 6 1/2. Okay, you try these two, and I'll be back in just a second to show you the answers. Okay, take your time. I'll see you in a second. Okay, hopefully you paused the video and tried it yourself. The first step that I would do is add up all of your whole numbers. 6 plus 1 is 7, plus 5 is 12. Now I'm going to add up all my fractions. And notice that we have a 9th here, which is going to which means we have to change all of these denominators into 9ths as well. Okay, so 1/3, if I multiply it by 3, I get 3/9. 2/3, if I multiply it by 3, I get 6/9. So I'm going to add these together, and I get 3 plus 6 is 9, plus 5 is 14/9. If you noticed when you were adding these that this would have been a whole, good for you. Stop there. You know you have 1 and 5/9. But if you didn't, take a look here. 14/9 is really 9/9 plus 5/9. So this is a whole, which means I add it to my 12, and I get 13. 13 and 5/9. Okay, down here, add my wholes. 8 and 11 make 19. And I have 5/12 plus 1/4. Well, I need common denominators, so I can change this 5/12. Nope, I don't have to. He stays over here. But I can change the 1/4 to make it into a 12 by multiplying by 3/3. When I do that, I get 3/12, which means that I have 8/12 when I really add them. Okay, 8/12. That has, both of those numbers, 8 and 12, share a 4 in common. So if I simplify by dividing by 4, I get 2 on top and 3 on bottom. So really I have 19 2/3. And that's all I have for you today. I'll see you next time.